The hinge. What else would you call the hinge? What exercises?
RDL.
Okay.
Deadlift.
Deadlifts. What is the hinge doing?
Pushing your butt back and stretching your hamstrings.
Shit. Abby's got it covered, folks. That was a good answer. It is that is what it's doing. We are pushing the hips backwards. It is a hinge like a door hinge. So, the way that really helped me coach this, I will tell you this is the hardest thing to coach, period. There's some outliers here. If you can coach a 70-year-old woman who's never hinged before, or a 14-year-old teenager, any sex or gender, how to do a hinge properly in less than a week, you're a good coach. If you go work at a D1 institution with D1 athletes, surrounded by a lot of professional athletes, and you think you're hot shit, you don't have to coach. They're just athletes. They do what they do because they do it. It's not you. It's not the weights. It's their parents who made them. So, this exercise will make you angry for a long time. If you are going to be a clinician or a coach, please get good at this exercise, because it is the first thing that will demonize people against movements. The deadlift is everyone's nightmare. It's how you break your back. It's going to kill you. It's going to turn you into a walking broken spine. I'm sure you guys have seen and heard, or maybe have some thoughts about how scary a deadlift can be or a hinge can be. It's just a movement pattern. It has to happen when you squat. It happens when you bend over and pick shit up. And the way I see the body is not something that breaks because of exposure. It can, but it's something that adapts to exposure. All of your tissues, for the most part, adapt to the thing we ask it to do over and over and over. Does any of you have calluses? Yeah, calluses from calisthenics, from work, from guitar, from whatever. I worked in the kitchen for a long time, so I had really weird calluses on my hands. You get calluses. Why do you get calluses? Not the like super technical.
Repetition.
It's repetition. Your body's producing something. It recognizes you're doing something. Yeah, and it's like, okay, well, I don't want to keep getting huge blisters that bleed and hurt. We'll just keep laying skin down until you shut up about the whiny part. Okay. When you put mechanical tension on muscles, enough of it, maybe you guys have gone through this part in your schooling yet, what happens to the muscle? What does it do? Signals to do what? Get bigger, get stronger, right? Yeah, recruit more motor units. There's the afferent efferent pathway. It's sending information back to your brain, back into your muscle. Your muscle's also freaking out. There's some tension going on. There's some sarcomeres that are ripping apart. There's a lot of things going on. So what's its response to load? It's like, oh, okay, I'll get a little bit bigger for you. Sure, I'll get a little more stronger. I don't know what you want from me. And what happens when you stop doing stuff?
They don't get bigger.
Yeah. If anything, because muscles are so expensive metabolically, yeah, they go away. Your brain's like, all right, you don't need this.
I'm not using it.
You're not using it. I'm going to take the resources from it and put it back into your brain, heart, lungs, organs, the things that keep you alive. So, the hinge is nothing dangerous if we do it with some mindful progression, okay? Your lower back muscles and your back muscles are just like your bicep, quads, your hamstrings. They're muscles that need to be loaded, they need to be strong, they need to be resilient so that people can move through their life how they want to. So we do hard things in here, so when we go lift up a 10-pound bag or a 40-pound bag of bird seed, because we got some old lady, old guy who loves feeding his birds, and he keeps throwing his back out, do we want them to do that? Do we want them to lose access to their birds? No. Okay? We want to be strong, robust. So the hinge is nothing dangerous. It's dangerous if you're dumb. It's not necessarily true, but it's dangerous if you... Joseph nodded. It's dangerous if you're dumb.
Overloaded.
Yeah.
Technically.
Yes, if what you're asking it to do is above its capacity of what it can handle. You've got a capacity of the things it can do. You just keep going and going and going.
Deadlifted and decided
Yep.
to deadlift to
Yeah,
15 tomorrow.
correct. You've reached over your capacity. The tissue's like, ah! Yeah. Does weird stuff, okay? Makes that noise specifically. Primarily hip dominant, emphasizes posterior chain activation. It involves a maximal bend at the hips with minimal knee bend movement. This is a fun one for me. This is what helped me figure this out. I'll show you in a second. The goal is to shift the hips back while maintaining a relatively neutral spine, creating tension in the hamstrings, glute, and lower back. So, I don't have the stick in here, but it doesn't matter. I want everyone to look at my ankle and look at my hip.
You want me to grab your towel?
No, it's fine. Oh, just grab me the yellow thing. Throw it. Just kidding, don't do that. Okay, watch this. Everyone see my ankle and see my hip? Is this in a straight line? Okay. Now, if I do this, have I moved my hips away? Okay, now watch this. Have I moved my hips away?
Yeah.
So I always look at the hinge from my ankle to the hip. The hip being like right where my pocket is, where it starts. That's like your hip bone. Everyone can kind of feel that big bump right there. Okay, it's your trochanter, and where it connects into your hip, it's kind of the whole socket right there. Okay, sorry. Grottrochanter, whatever. It's your anatomy hip. Yeah. Okay. So if I go forward, if I'm trying to move my hips backwards, I want you to think of, when you watch someone hinge, think about either their knee or their ankle. I like ankle, and I'll tell you why in a second. I'm trying to see, and I draw. When I watch someone hinge, I'm drawing an imaginary line down from their hip and seeing how much distance, see this little pocket right here? How much distance they can create back here. I can keep pushing, oh my God, and it feels like my hamstring's gonna rip out of my body, okay? I can keep pushing my hips back, but that's about all. You can see my legs shaking, and then I come back up. If I go forward, have I moved back at all?
No.
No, I've flexed my spine, I haven't moved my hips, okay? So the reason I like looking at the ankle and not the knee, and why in my head I'm seeing how far can they get their hip away from their ankle, because the hamstring's a biarticular joint. It goes in my butt, down in my shin bone. Is everyone aware of where the hamstring connects? Mm-hmm. So because it's biarticular, if I hinge, is there a lot of stretch in my hamstring right now? Yeah? Because my knees are back. If I keep pushing my knees back, I'm stretching it even further. Now watch this. Is there any tension on my hamstrings? Why? I've bent my knees. Now my hips are still behind me, relatively, right? But I've taken the slack out of the joint, or out of the muscle here. So I have to have relatively pushed back knees and a pushed back hip. So I'm,
Slight bend.
Slight bend. You can also do locked out. I'll do deadlifts. I'll do deadlifts like this sometimes with my knees really straight. It hurts my hamstrings very badly. It's called the straight leg deadlift. Your RDL should probably look more like a straight leg deadlift than a knee bent deadlift. If your knees bend a little bit more, your glutes take a little bit more of the action. But, so that's what I'm watching. Watch someone from the side. Imagine there's a line. Are they going over a building to look and fall? Or are they sitting away from the building, keeping their knees back, okay? That helped me more than anything else, visualizing. If someone is hinging well, I can pull it out quickly and be like, oh, you're leaning over. Because I'm just looking at their hip line, and I'm seeing if the hip moves this way, creates a pocket right here. It moves away from their ankle or away from their shoulder. Or if not, they're leaning over the building and looking forward, bending at their spine. So that can help you a lot. Now, getting them in that position can be a little bit tricky. I just wanted to give you that before we get into it. What is the hinge benefit? Similar question to when we were talking about the squat. Like, what do people do when they hinge? Like, what in life? Sports too. Drop something. Pick stuff up off the ground. Sports. What do your hamstrings do? What's the action?
Oppose your quads.
Huh?
Opposing your quads.
Yeah, oppose your quads. It extends your leg behind you. Okay? It decelerates on a sprint, so when your leg reaches out in front and hits the ground, your hamstrings are helping with deceleration, and then they kick behind, push away.
In softball, I kind of hinge when I'm up to bat.
Yes. Yeah, golf and softball, very similar. When I'll just say golf, but baseball too. If I'm here, I'm loaded, I'm hinged back, and then I pull my hips through, everything moves in. Golf's the same way. I'm hinged in the hip, I rotate, I push, and then I stand up and extend, okay? So you use your hips to create torque and rotation, okay? So a lot of things that the hips and hamstrings are really important for. The hamstrings also help with pelvic control because they connect on your sit bones. Imagine like they are hanging on hanging on a ledge. The ledge is your pelvis. It's a bowl of water. They help pull down, right? They'll bring those two together when they flex, sort of, because it's biarticular. It's a little more complicated than that. But for all intents and purposes, your hamstrings help keep your pelvis in control. On the back end, pulls down, okay, posterior tilt. The same way the hip flexors anteriorly tilt. So if I hip flex like this, I lengthen my hamstrings, I shorten my hip flexors. If I go like this, I shorten my hamstrings, I lengthen my hip flexors. Okay. Okay. Where do you want to feel the hinge?
Hamstrings, glutes.
There we go. And lower back. So, very important. When you deadlift, should you feel your lower back?
No.
Yes.
What?
Have to. If you find a way to deadlift without feeling your lower back, I will give you the Nobel Peace Prize.
Like feeling it, but it shouldn't be painful, correct?
So when you do really high rep hip thrusts,
Okay.
how does your ass feel?
Like it's on fire?
Great. Is that comfortable?
No.
Okay. So how do you think your
It's like
back's going to feel?
comfortable.
Well, so the thing is with the lower back that's annoying is like it's not the same as your glutes because it's just like your
Yeah.
glutes burn. It does affect the way your spine moves when it gets really tight and fatigued. So it is a little bit more uncomfortable, I would say, like perception-wise than other muscles. But having a bilaterally fatigued lower back from a heavy hinge day, yeah, it has to. Because if you think about a weight, if I'm holding this weight like this, and I'm in a, I'm pretty good at hinging. This is a hinge, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Is this, what's holding this weight up? Imagine this is 250. What's holding this weight up right now?
Your lats.
And?
Spinal erectors.
My spinal erectors and my lower back muscles.
Alright, spinal erectors.
Because if I lose my lats, let's say you took my lats away, okay? Now what's holding me up?
Shoulders.
My spinal erectors, my lower back. What stabilizes my lower back? My lats. They connect into the fascia in your lower back, so they help tighten things down. But your spinal erectors and your low back muscles are keeping you in a relatively neutral position. So if I am doing really good deadlifts and not going through excessive lumbar flexion, I still have, like my deadlift at 350, I have 350 pounds partially hanging off of my spinal erectors and my lower back muscles.
It's gonna hurt.
It's not going to hurt. It's going to fatigue the shit out of them. It's going to feel heavy on my lower back. So, should you feel your spinal or your lower back as the primary?
No.
Absolutely not. That's probably a bad idea. Oh yeah.
Yeah, can you show me where my spinal erectors are? Because
Yes.
that kind of went in the air. Alright. Physio.
Thoracolumbar fascia. So fascia can be trained. It is adaptable. It is very slow to adapt, very slow to change at such a slow rate that for the majority of the time up until honestly a few years ago, they didn't think it was adaptable or changeable. To what degree and what context, we still are doing a lot of research. We don't have a lot of the answers, right? But when we look at the actual spine, this example shows such a good crossover, right? You can see the lat then comes into the thoracolumbar fascia and then comes down and across into the glute. And so ultimately, we are trying to get as much spine stabilization as possible while we are in that position. Fascia is very tight, so it's not gonna have the same plasticity, the same adaptability as muscle. But that's what he's talking about is like, you can still hang on that. Yeah, the lats are doing everything they can to create extra tension on that, right? Can somebody grab me a red, can you grab me, Amelia, a red long band and a purple band? And so ultimately, like, it is creating that extra stabilization, and we'll do, actually I need to look at this one. And then you wanted to see...
Spinal erectors.
Yeah.
A fun one to train.
Yeah,
Oh,
look
that's
at
a
that
good
guy.
picture, yeah.
Beefers.
And that's elite FTS.
Oh, those
Yeah.
things.
So they start, well, and that's not all his spinal erectors.
No,
There's like his traps are up here, his rhomb, whatever. But they start around tailbone area and then shift all the way up to around here.
Thank you guys.
And they keep going by They come up your whole spine, and their job is to erect your spine. So it keeps it from here to here. It keeps them in that position. So the strong, and you will see, this is probably a power lifter because it's through Elite FTS, which is a powerlifting gym and community.
And only powerlifters get really bad tattoos like that.
True. That's so true.
It's generational. So like those are bad now, but now for you it's okay. This guy's old. So for me this is bad.
Yeah.
You probably think this is bad. It's okay. That's why I'm on MySpace.
True. The thing with spinal erectors is the stronger you get them, the better your deadlift gets. The stronger you get them, the better your Olympic lift gets, the better your squats get. The thing that will give out fastest if your legs are really strong on a squat, deadlift, your big compound movements are your spine. Your spinal erectors, your low back. So if you can get an absolutely massive set of spinal erectors, low back muscles, glutes, hamstrings, all of your lifts will be better because you have more spine stability. You can create more tension through your whole posterior chain. Benching, you need a really strong posterior chain. Squatting, deadlifting, lunging, you have to have a strong posterior chain to keep everything stable. Your anterior chain, because it collapses forward, does it create a lot of stability? Eccentrically, yes, but if I'm trying to think about keeping my spine erected, that's my posterior chain doing it all the way down. Okay, so
that's the OG big back.
yes, if you want to be a really strong person, you will be a big back. You can't do it. Go find me a world record squatter, deadlifter, ladies, men that don't have massive backs. You can't not. When you were pushing down on her shoulders, it wasn't relatively difficult to keep her up. You could probably have her on your back and squat her, correct? Okay. What about me and Joseph on your back?
No.
Okay. So the thing that's gonna limit your squat, if it's not your legs, it's your back. Because your back has to keep extended and erect so that you don't collapse and lose that weight. And then
you can think about a leg press where you can do that.
yeah, because there's no spine needed because
I could press.
Correct. Because the leg press is your spine now. You just push your spine into it. You're super stable, and all you do is move at the hip joint and push away. There's nothing needed. It's incredibly stable. It's like laying on the ground and pushing something. So you want to make your back the back of that hack squat or the back of that leg press. That's what you want to think about. So a lot of people here, if you're thinking about getting a bigger squat, bigger deadlift, bigger bench press, if your back's not huge, it's going to suck for you. You have to do, I know, that's what I'm saying. I get it.
No, but you want a strong, stable back.
Yes.
You want an extremely stable spine. And for most people, when one of those lifts fails or when they reach a place where they plateau, it usually is because they cannot create enough internal stability. Because again, remember stability, what's our definition?
Ability to stop the force.
Ability to resist force. You just put a ton of force on your back or you're trying to pick it up off the ground, right? So you're trying to produce force in that. But if there is a leak within a stable system, that leak is going to be exposed at some point under force. So that's where all of this talk comes into play, is honestly like between here and here, there's not a lot that is happening. And so if we do not have a stable position there that we can truly own, it's usually where the weakness happens. It's why a lot of powerlifters usually end up regressing to do some form of direct core work, even though we know the majority of their core work is coming from what's called IAP, intra-abdominal pressure, the ability to stabilize under load. But at a certain point, their load has gotten to be so maximal, which is amazing, that they need to create stability in some other way. And at a certain point, you can no longer compensate. That's when you compensate too much, we have disc issues. Now, the discs themselves can handle an immense amount of pressure, 10,000 PSI per square inch. But yet you put an actual bar on that, and all of a sudden we can't handle 100 pounds, 200 pounds, whatever it is. And it's because we need to be able to stabilize those individual joints from within. And I think the last piece that is really helpful for me, just because he was talking about spinal erectors, right? So you have the actual muscle. Ethan is stronger than me. Ethan is purple. Ethan pulls. What is this? Yeah, but just in general, if that's muscle, then what am I? Tendons. Thank you. Yeah. So what happens is now he's creating all this stretch. This is how the Achilles, again, that's my easiest way to do it, but the Achilles is like a spring, because if I have enough muscle, I can create the tension here to then whip me back on up. So there is that spring aspect that is happening. Now, if I don't have enough muscle, say that was a really lighter band, then this would be problematic. Now you're trying to stretch and stabilize through this that has not much like ability to contract. You can't drive neurological contraction through it. It's the spring, right? So, going to sleep. I don't know what went to sleep. Does that make sense? Is that helpful?
Yeah.
All right. Back to you.
We lost the TV.
Fix your
You're sleeping.
How did the TV go to sleep?
I don't know.
The
Monday night
mask.
football.
Great.
Yeah, come on.
What's it about?
Some mask takes over him.
Well, you've never seen The Mask with Jim Carrey?
It's like the Green Goblin, Spider-Man, but like the mask instead.
It's a movie.
Joseph.
Have you read the first Harry Potter?
Yeah. I've read the first 3, but I didn't like the rest.
I don't know. I've been reading it to my kid. It's the only way.
I just finished a 530-page book last night and then started another one, 585 pages. Okay, Hinge checklist. We kind of went over this already. So, your eyes, please. Stand in the middle. Wherever you want to stand. Okay, so we will be about feet hip width apart. This one's a little negotiable. I prefer to hinge. So turn that way. Draw a line straight down from her shoulder to her hip to her foot. Does it make almost like an I straight down her leg? Like both legs are an I, right? Straight down. Move your feet a little wider. We start getting to an A. If we get too close, it kind of turns into a V. I generally like the feet directly under the hip. Okay, keeps it really straight on the joint. When we move back into the RDL, sometimes I will do a little bit of internal rotation of the femur, like I'm pushing my leg through and back. Yep, it'll kind of feel like you're opening your hips up behind you. And then on the way up, drive the glutes shut, so it would be a little bit in external rotation, okay? So, feet about hip width apart, toes pointing forward or slightly outward. Some people, myself included, I really don't like to do RDLs or any hinging pattern with any toe flare. I don't know why. Not a fan. Like my deadlift is very close and very straight. Some people like it though, and that's totally fine. Nothing wrong with it. Keep weight evenly distributed across the midfoot and heels. I have a little bit of qualm with this, but that's fine. We'll get into it. Avoid lifting the heels or shifting weight forward. Does this seem like almost exactly the same as the squat? Yeah. Mm-hmm. The reason why is because the hinge has to happen to squat, but when you hinge, you don't need to squat, right? So the hinge is just the first half of the squat with no knee flexion. That's all it is. So it's even foot pressure, not outside of the hips for anatomical reasons. Even foot pressure, avoid lifting the heels or shifting weight forward to the toes. The avoid lifting the toes thing. Here's the deal. If she shifts her hips backwards and does a hinge, I'm sure she can because she does it relatively well, yes? Okay, stop. Is the weight more on your heels or your toes? It's on her heels. Why is that? Where's her center of mass?
That way. Back.
Correct. So, do I want relatively even foot pressure? Yes. But what I do know is when I have someone hinge for the first time, do it and pull your toes off the ground like they're fluttering. Where do I know her weight is now? Where do I know her hips are then? Stop. Okay. So now I know her hips are back here, her ankles right here, and I can see if turn to your side and keep that position. Make it feel like your hamstrings are pulling out of your butt. Great. Are her hips behind her ankles now? Everyone look. Are hips behind her ankles? Great. So is she in a pretty good hinge position? Now we're going to ask, where do you feel that?
My hamstrings.
Great. So we know she's in a good hip position. So sometimes if Abby came to me and was like, hey, I want to do really heavy RDLs, can you help me out with the form? Great. If I saw her toe fluttering at 280. She wants to do 8 reps. Does she have a lot of good foot pressure to produce force on the way out? Or are we shrinking how much square footage her foot is on the ground? Correct. Can I produce more force through a smaller surface area or bigger surface area? So we want to limit at heavier weights how much toe flutter we get, because I want more surface area for her glutes to kick in. If she goes all the way on her heels and she has to balance in this hinge, go hinge. Hint, yeah. Yeah.
That weight.
Do you feel like you can squeeze your glutes really quickly from there, or does it feel like you're unbalanced?
Unbalanced.
So, am I a stickler for the toes coming off the ground? Not really, especially if I'm trying to teach someone how to RDL. If I see the toes come off the ground quickly, like she starts to flutter them, I'm like, awesome. Now I know she's hinging. Because now stand all the way up. I want you to just don't push your hips back. Just feel like you're bending forward, looking over a building. Now where's the weight on your feet? Why is it on her toes?
Because I'm falling forward.
Exactly. So really quick way to watch someone's hinge is I'm just watching their feet and I go, hey, hinge back real quick. And they either go toe flutter, especially if they're not an advanced lifter. So they're going to toe flutter or toe jam. Toe jam is easier to see. Toe jam, you're just jamming the weight into your toes. You're leaning forward over the building. So she either looks like she's leaning forward over a building. Yeah. Weights in the weights in the toes. I see this. Not great. Hips go back. I see the toe flutter. My first indication. I don't even need to look at the hips. If someone does that and they're like they're falling backwards, the weight's backwards, the hips are backwards. We're set. Now she goes, we're progressing weight. I go, hey, next time you do this, feel like you're gripping your whole foot to the floor and keep your hips going backwards. Now I don't see the toe flutter. Do you still feel your hamstrings? So, am I a big stickler? Not at first. If they want to progress load, absolutely. If they want to feel more balanced, yes. Because she won't be able to engage her glutes very well if she's on that small of a position. Because the glutes are trying to externally rotate. We need the foot and femur. Can Abby kick me without her foot? Now, this is a silly question. Like if she wanted to produce a lot of force and kick me, but she didn't use her foot, how's she going to do that? She's not. If she wanted to punch me without her hand, how, is she going to produce a lot of force? No. Where does force transfer through? Your hands or your feet? Right? I can't punch without my hand. I can't push without my feet. If she's trying to produce force through her glutes and she reduces the amount of surface area on the ground, are her glutes going to work very well? There's a lot of reasons for this. One of them is the brain doesn't feel stable. Cannot produce force when you don't feel stable, which is why Bosu balls can eat shit. If I do exercises where I feel unstable and people are like, wow, this is so much better than the other one. Look how hard it looks. Is it hard because it's harder? Is it hard because you're no longer stable? Can I produce more force when I'm more stable? Yes. So I'm doing it.
Some benefits to that, correct? Balance, no?
Now we're getting
I'm
into
doing
a
a single leg RDL. What's the point in that?
We're getting into a niche thing here, though, where we're talking about balance versus muscle growth and strength.
Okay.
If I'm working on balance, I'm doing balance exercises for the purpose of balance exercises. I can kind of wash in some stuff with single leg RDLs. That's a great point. I can also do I can't do single leg RDLs as heavy as I can do RDLs. But I can also I treat my single leg RDLs like a main movement.
I mean, if you're doing, do you do B stance or is your whole
Nope.
leg coming
A
out?
single leg RDLs, back leg off the ground, full hinge.
Like,
I can do it with.
Do you hold on to anything?
No. And I can.
60s and
Oh,
rip for
60s.
like 10 reps on each
60s
foot.
are my warm up. I'm doing like 80s and the 90s, and then I'll move to a barbell. So you can treat your balance exercises the same way you treat your strength exercises. And how I see balance, how I see stability, not balance. Balance to me is a more vestibular and brain thing. Stability to me comes with really good strength. If I'm incredibly strong in absorbing and producing force, am I really stable? Probably. Unless there's a vestibular visual issue, probably. So if I'm doing single leg RDLs, yes. Is the balance demand higher? Absolutely. Am I going to be able to lift as much? No. But I can maybe get a little more motor unit
Yeah, like
control of smaller muscle groups.
That's kind of.
But okay, so here's how I think about this. If I can back squat 600 pounds, do you think I can lunge quite a bit of weight?
Yes.
Is it going to be the most stable if I'm not practiced at the movement?
No.
Do you think if I took a 600-pound squatter, a monster, and was like, you're only doing lunges, but you're going to treat your lunges like you treat your squat, like mentally?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they're going to work up to an absolutely insane lunge?
Yeah.
Are they super stable?
No.
Yes.
Well.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I can almost. My goal was to squat 400 and lunge 315. I'm at like 275, 280 the last time I did it for 3 on each leg. Am I really stable? Yeah.
Because you've experienced with other inputs.
Correct. So my movement variability can give me a lot more stability
I see.
and practice. And that's almost more of like a practice and neurological thing. What sports do you play?
Soccer player.
If you took someone who had never played soccer but had pretty good like hand-foot coordination stuff, hand-eye coordination for lack of a better term, and you made them play against you, but in an overall sense, their hand-foot coordination was better than yours, are you going to beat them in the first game?
No.
Yes,
Wait.
because you're practiced. If you took someone who's
yeah.
never played soccer but
yeah.
has a better soccer brain than you, but they've never played,
Yeah.
you're going to smoke them.
Yeah.
What if you give them time? They might be better than you.
A lot of time.
Correct. It's the same way. These motor,
For 18 years of my life.
these squats and lunges are just motor pattern issues, right? So if I learn the motor pattern, like calisthenics is a great example. That shit's hard until you figure it out. And when your brain gets really good at that, the like proprioception of hand placement, of single leg, single arm placement, those stabilizers do get really ripped. But are you telling me that someone who could squat 600 pounds has weak stabilizing muscles? Absolutely not. No chance in hell.
Okay.
Are you telling me they have a weak core? Not a chance in hell. So, yes, it's a consideration, but I can't. I think if I can get an older person to squat their body weight or deadlift, trap bar deadlift their body weight, I'm just not as concerned about stability anymore because I know they can produce a lot of force. I know they can absorb more force than that. So if they can trap bar deadlift their body weight, I think we're good to go. Oh my God. No cookies?
No, because I was not saying no.
I want the sweet version.
Whatever. Anyway, so did we see Abby have good feet hip width apart, toes pointing forward?
No.
Hip generally? Yeah? Okay. Weight distribution. Was her weight evenly distributed across the midfoot and heels? Yeah? When we weren't having her demo the other way. Avoid lifting the heels or shifting weight forward to the toes. She's pretty damn good at that. She has also said she RDLs quite a bit, which means what have you done with this motor pattern?
Stabilize it.
You've learned it. Yeah, you've stabilized it. Your brain's really good at it. Just like if I asked you to kick a ball into the top right corner, you probably could, right? Could I? Absolutely not. Maybe 1 in 50 or a lucky shot, but that's a skill learning issue. And think about exercising the same way. Any exercise is a motor pattern. Calisthenics especially, like once you learn how to do a muscle up, it is really it's a motor pattern thing, not necessarily a strength thing. You can really leverage your body in a way that's like, are you the strongest? No. But can you clean that move up and make it really efficient and snap into those positions? Yes. Hips, push back hips. She does it great. Look like closing a door with your hips. She's pushing her hips back. She's got groceries in her hand. Kick her hips back. Hit the door. Hips hinge backward, allowing the torso to lean forward. Spine and torso maintain a relatively neutral spine, no rounding or arching. This one also a little bit of nuance, but keep chest up with shoulders slightly in front of the bar. Okay. If the shoulders are just in line with the bar, the lever gets a little bit weird. We're no longer putting the weight in the hamstrings. We're probably squatting it a little too much.
Why do you internally rotate as you go back?
To push the hips even farther back. Because the hamstrings are trying to internally rotate, so I'm trying to push into internal rotation to get them as far back as I can. And then the glutes want to externally rotate, so I'm going to push my hips out to let them do their job. technically, if you wanted to stretch the hamstrings, you would externally rotate a little bit. But I'm trying to get as much distance as possible. So if my hamstrings want to internally rotate and I fight away from it, maybe I get a more stretch. But if I internally rotate a little bit, I can keep pushing my hips back because I can rotate them. I can let them do what they're trying to do and push them in. And then if I want to squeeze my glutes, you'll see that happen a little bit because my glutes are trying to push my hips forward and externally rotate. So I'm kind of like going with the movement to get as much distance as possible and then pushing through the movement and letting the glutes finish the job.
Sorry, go.
No, it's baby goes.
Do you ever watch when someone's like doing an RDL, like how close the bar is to their body? 'Cause
Yes.
I feel like that's the best tell. Like, if the bar is basically sliding at your knees, there's no way for you to be falling forward. You know, like.
Yes.
Not necessarily.
If the weight's light enough and they're new enough, I definitely can.
Yeah, okay.
You can go like this
Yeah.
and do some weird stuff, but as the load increases, that bar will just pull you straight onto your head.
Because I feel like that's what I think about. Is
Yeah.
the bar sliding down.
Yeah, I mean, when I'm deadlifting, all the scars on
Yeah.
my shins are from deadlifting.
Yeah.
So I know if someone has done, if they're really good at keeping the bar close, if they've got from the shins up scars on their shins. Or they wear a certain pair of leggings or something and they've got holes in those from scraping the bar up. The only thing I'll say Amelia, thank you.
So it's opposite then, because we were just talking about squat to produce forced internal rotation.
No, with an RDL, because I'm working.
You're thinking in terms of the knees. And
Yeah.
You're thinking in terms of the front side mechanics of a squat.
Right.
So the femur, right, in a squat is going to internally and externally rotate this way. But you got to look at when he's looking at the backside mechanics within the SI and within that realm of the joint, it's just inversed. And so think about the move as the opposite pattern.
Yeah.
So it's happening opposite. It looks. You're thinking like that doesn't make sense. He's internally rotating backside. Does that make sense now?
Yeah.
And the hamstring's job is to internally rotate and extend the hip, adduct a little bit, but it's internal rotation, extension. So it's trying to pull my leg this way and backwards. Right. So if I let it, while I'm doing the RDL, if I let it do what it wants to do on the way back, when I'm flexing the hip, I'm stretching this hamstring back as far as I can, and then letting the glute finish the job correctly and push forward.
Right. Okay.
I think I have that right in my head. Yeah. Okay. So the thing with neutral spine, no rounding or arching, we talked about this earlier. If they're flexion intolerant, you can put them in extension. That feels better. If they're extension intolerant, you can put them in a little bit more neutral spine. That feels better. If you're working with someone who wants to grow their hamstrings, and hamstrings specifically, you can put them into an anterior tilt and have them arch their chest. Where your hamstrings connect on your sit bone, right? If I tilt the pelvis up, I'm stretching the hamstring faster. So if I go like this and then push back into an RDL, I'll keep it neutral. I get to stretch my hamstring, but I can get pretty far back. If I go like this and then stretch that's all I've got. That's because I'm pulling my hamstrings faster from their origin insertion. I'm trying to get them away from each other. There's nothing wrong with arching your back. I've heard from a few people that I trust online a very interesting conversation about this, that if you arch your lower back like this, I've now activated my spinal erectors a little bit more. I've shortened them and made them tighten down. I can, in theory, keep out of flexion faster, so I can force extension if it's comfortable. It's not like it's doing anything wrong. I can force extension this way, do my RDLs, and I can keep that bowl shape on my back and keep all those muscles pulling my spine into that stable position. Also, I won't even get into this about herniating discs forward versus backwards. If you go backwards with a herniation, you're hitting the nerve channel. If you go forward with a herniation, so towards your belly button, you're hitting a tendon sheath and nothing happens. There still might be pain, but you're not pressing on a nerve if it comes forward versus this way.
Gotcha.
So you can arch someone's lower back if they're advanced or really want to work on their hamstrings and it causes no issues. Again, we're going back to, does it hurt? Does it feel weird? No? Great, let's keep doing it. Totally fine.
Think about it like this, like it's just mostly a problem if there's shearing that is happening within those discs. They can get in there and they're able to stabilize without any of that happening. Once they're stable, there's not a lot of movement that we can see visually, and typically not a lot that is happening to a degree that's problematic. Yes, there can actually be up to 20 to, I think it's 23 to 25 degrees of flexion or something like that can be taking place that we're not even seeing. So there can still be some movement, but it's only if they're shearing. And my best example is like we look at the shoulder. Well, we're gonna run out of room, so we're like, oh, we better not dip. And then we go here, and I'm like, or we do a calisthenic, where you're on one hand, you're internally rotating, and you're putting all this force into it. But once it's stable, if you have the musculature to stabilize that joint and prevent actual shear that is happening, then we're okay. So same thing. Yeah, you can hyperextend. Yeah, you can hyperflex. Pick up an atlas stone off the ground, as long as we have the relative stability within the, not only just the individual local sense within those joints, but in a global sense from the entire body.
Fun thing, any of you seen those Atlas stones that they pick up that big ball off the ground? Okay.
What is that? The heavy man competition?
Strongman. So really cool thing about this, because a lot of people look at that.
Heavy man.
A lot of people look at that and they're like, how does their back not snap?
Yeah.
Right? Okay, very cool. So if they do it incorrectly, definitely some issues here. But what they do is they get really low and almost like hurdle around the ball, and they are rounding their spine. Imagine that stability. Imagine just you're grabbing the Atlas stone and I'm pulling it into my belly, like I'm getting it here. I'm using that ball as a stability to have no shear force this way. So I'm bracing against a ball that can't move. So it's not like they're trying to get that distance as close to their belly as possible. So that weight is almost never putting them in a position where it's going to shear forward and pull their spine. If they do it wrong, yes. But the reason they can do like 400-pound Atlas stones is they're basically like bear hugging this thing and flexing into the ball so that there is no risk of extension flexion while it's loaded. It's very weird. Yes, it's like they're giving the ball a hug and then lifting it. But they also don't lift it back. They get it on their knees and then they stand up and then they lift over. So it's almost never like they're like this. They're like that. They pull it straight onto their knees as fast as possible. Yes. Well, balance, throw, same thing.
You just have to get it up.
Yeah.
When you talked about like extending your spine forward, like in gym and gymnastics, when we would go up on the bar, so they would have us like stand. I'm gonna explain it. So I'm just gonna do it. Like you just stand straight and then go to the bar and then go like that, and they said that like then you push yourself off. It like gave us more force to then kip up. But
Yeah.
I like never.
That's a great example. I mean, that's what
Yeah, I was,
kipping
like,
pull-ups
thinking
are.
that.
Yeah.
I was like.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just using your body's own levers to do cool things. The muscle up's the exact same.
Yeah.
It's a kipping pull up that you're literally pulling back like this, and then you're trying to get back and then close to the bar as possible and lift out of it. So it's I have practiced it a couple times. I'm really close, but the first time I tried it, I wasn't as impressed with it anymore because how easily I almost got it.
It's more skill acquisition,
Yeah.
I'd say, than
Yeah.
capacity. Until you
Yeah.
see like some of these
Oh,
amazing
strict
calisthenic
muscle
dudes
ups.
that can do.
Like balance like 75%.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Stay like that.
My
Front levers.
Friends through high school, but he competes and he's working on right now. He can do it with two, but he's working on it with one. He can go. Takes bricks. And he goes on top of a bar and he goes into a handstand, but the bricks are vertical and he's on the bricks, which are on just the bar, and he's doing a handstand.
I don't like this.
That's
No,
insane.
it's the risk to reward ratio is insane. But again, he competes.
You mean fun?
Fun, I don't know.
He
That's
means
your
fun.
face into the bar and then down.
Yeah, whatever.
And so he's working towards balancing on one brick
God.
on
Yeah,
one
I've
hand.
seen people they'll get like four.
It's nuts.
Like cylindrical somethings, like little pieces of metal.
Oh,
Push them all together and like
Yeah.
balance like that.
Yes.
And then they'll let go of it and all of it'll fall apart.
yes.
Coins. I've seen coins.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
coins together.
Yeah, some wild stuff. And that's learning how to create an excessive amount of internal pressure. And that is exhausting. But yeah, muscle ups are cool. And then you realize like if you're good at kipping and you're relatively strong compared to your body weight, it's a technique issue. Now, when you watch
Rings-
someone do a
rings change
full
the game
muscle
a
up
little
like
bit,
that,
yeah.
that's true. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, head neutral, looking slightly forward or down. This is a funny one because if you're, stand up again real quick, go into a hinge, please. Keep your head in a neutral position. Okay, now stare right here and stand up and don't leave that. What happened to her head? Is it coming down a little bit?
Yeah.
So the gaze has to stay in a neutral position, but if she stares here, which a lot of people like look down or look up or whatever, now look up real quick. Is that a neutral position? Is it the worst thing ever? No. Especially if she's like, I want to roast my hamstrings, I'd say lift your chest up, throw your butt back, and push your knees back. How's it feel in your hamstrings? Yeah. Okay, so now we're really eccentrically loading the hamstrings and they're going to be doing the job. So is it terrible? No. Lift your chest as high as you can. Do an RDL, lift your chest as high as you can, and drive your chin up. How's that feel in your hamstrings?
Notice.
Drive your knees back.
Yeah. Feel it.
So we get a little more tension here in the hamstrings. Doesn't have to be something you
Goes
do.
far, I feel like.
Yes, because we're pulling on the hamstrings faster. But if we keep the head down and only look in that position, as she stands up, she's going to keep looking in that position. Is it the worst thing ever? No. Normally I say, like, find a gaze 5 feet in front of you, and then I want you to think about where your neck is, and when you stand up, I need the neck to be in the same position. Or I'll say, put the crown of your head to the ceiling when you stand up, not the top back here. Because then if we're here and I stand up like that, and I'm trying to lift this way. So I'm trying to get tall. And I don't want them, because if she, tuck your chin real quick and then do an RDL, for a lot of people it's a little bit more difficult to keep her whole spine more neutral, because where the head goes, the spine follows. So if I drive down like this, you turn into a roly-poly-oly. But if we keep our head up to neutral, it's a little bit easier to keep that tight back and or neutral extended position. Okay, we're doing it 5 or 5:30?
We're done at 5.
Oh,
You got through the squat and the deadlift.
yeah, pretty much. Same. It's the same checklist. Brace the core before hinging. Before we finish this thing, we will go over bracing because I want to teach you guys a couple tricks, because that is also a difficult one to get down correctly. And you will, if you work with ladies, you will have to have that conversation about, you know, if you pee yourself, it's okay. It's totally normal that it happened, but let's work on maybe a little bit better bracing strategy.
I wouldn't say normal, I'd say common.
Yeah, common.
We don't want that to be normalized.
Yeah, we don't want it to happen.
Because they don't want that to be normalized.
Yeah.
So it's just the...
Yeah, common's a better word. Normal is okay.
Semantics,
And it is okay. It's common. It happens.
It's very common.
And there's nothing wrong with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Some people
some-
just have
yeah.
really weak
Yeah.
pelvic floor.
Or poor
I
bracing.
have friends who just laugh and pee themselves.
Or yeah, that's true. That seems like a weak pelvic floor. But also some people have poor bracing patterns.
Yeah.
And their way of bracing is feeling like they're trying to pee themselves, or like bearing down to go to the bathroom, which we learned this weekend. Don't do that either. Don't bear down to pee. Don't bear down to poop. Just relax.
Bear down to U of A.
That's so funny. You made a joke about that, and that made me laugh. She was like, if I could say anything about this, just please don't bear down. And Joseph looked at me and was like, I tell U of A kids. And I was like, oh my God, what a father. It was a good one. I liked it.
I wasn't
Yeah.
saying it loud, though. I was like, hey,
Don't bear down.
yeah. I went to U of A.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. For 2 years.
And then he went
you
to
graduate?
And then, hold on.
Relax, dude.
And then I went to ASU for a semester because I was living up there. And then I was like, I can't actually go to school full-time in person while working full-time. And the only school at this time, because remember, this is like, you know, back in the 1800s.
Yeah.
The only school that had an online program, because online school wasn't really a thing yet, was NAU. Which is funny, right? Because then you look at like U of A and ASU have massive online programs now.
Yeah.
ASU is one of the biggest.
Yeah, ASU has like phenomenally huge programs.
Just a commuter school.
I mean, it's just because they spend more money to get people to come pay for a year and then leave, and then they're just okay with that. The graduation like rate is much lower than U of A's.
Yeah,
Ours
97.
is pretty shitty
It's
too.
like a 97% acceptance rate, though. I think the U of A is not
Yeah,
that
and
much
but
better,
like almost 60% dropout
Is it?
within the first year.
Dropout rate is like
Yeah, the dropout rate's
Yeah,
crazy. I think it was
40%
like
or something stupid.
it's
Yeah.
like 40% the first 2 years, and then after that,
But that's 40% the first 2 years, not
60% of people
60% the
graduate.
first year.
That's true.
That's nuts.
Yeah. Yeah. So, anyways, then I switched to NAU because I could do it all online while working full time, and I got my degree at Starbucks as a store manager.
Pay for your education.
No, because again, this was back in the 1700s, so it was before.
They didn't even have electricity yet. It was
Yeah,
crazy.
like I would send my owl with his note, and he would fly.
Stop with the Harry Potter stuff. My lord.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you start pulling out Lord of the Rings stuff, you're gonna start upsetting me.
Yeah, yeah. So I always say I went to NAU of ASU.
Nice. He went to Arizona
They're
College.
The one letter bleeds into the next letter.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
NA of UASU. Yeah, so I'm not impartial to anyone.
Yeah.
I think school is great as long as it doesn't take your money without giving you something
Yeah,
of
in
quality in return, even if that is just life experience. So just get out of it what you need out of it.
Hell yeah.
I just think we should show this and then the other thing, and then you can do your bracing talk or
We'll
whatever.
do bracing after.
Okay.
We'll do bracing on next Monday.
Yep. But when we're thinking about, we talked a couple weeks ago, and I was like, yeah, you guys were like, I don't know, there's so many exercises. I think Jake was talking about it a lot and whatnot. And you're like, I don't know what I'm looking at. So now you're starting to see, like, all we talked about was the 2 main lower body ones. These ones take the most time. We'll knock out the other 4 all together in a week or in a session. It won't be a big deal because these are the hard ones to grasp.
Front squats behind back squat.
So, hold on.
Sorry.
So when you look at this scale, we've got loadability, right? General loadability, the higher it goes, but also complexity.
We know.
Right? I graduated college.
Boom, roasted.
Still in college.
Oh yeah, good point.
Yeah, whatever.
Are you getting your PhD? Master's?
I'm doing my master's, yeah. So we obviously can have a body weight squat, but we might even need to regress it even more than that for some people in some regards, right? And so then that's where it's an assisted suspension, like one of those. Now again, it could be staggered, could be kickstand. You have variations within this. This is an overview, right?
I'll show you.
Yeah. We like the Spanish people. Then you go body weight to box. So I just want you to think about at this bottom level, there's something happening called external stability.
Something else is helping.
I have some kind of assistance, right? Hence the name assistance. But if I have external stability, I don't have to rely on my internal stability, and I can just worry about producing force. I can just worry about strength to get on up, right? So it just kind of takes some of that away. So we can kind of move on up through the chain. We go into like a body weight where it's going to be maybe a stability ball behind me. So again, that's body weight, but I'm still having this external support I feel more comfortable. Spanish squats where you're using band resistance and it's behind the knees. A lot of times within this realm, it's because they need to build the adequate quad strength in order to get them up. So we're gonna bias their body towards that as opposed to a traditional squat where if somebody is weak, they're gonna usually be going into this direction, right? And also what usually happens if they are at that level of strength, then there's usually some form of instability within the knees. And so maybe it's a knee injury, maybe it's fear, whatever's happening. So usually we need some external support to happen. We can even do that from what's a counterweight. So then when we take them off the wall, now if we put something in their hands, when I push this weight out, notice how my body just naturally counters backwards. So now I can be like, push your body back, center of mass goes back over my base of support because I have this external load. And it doesn't need to be much. And I can get a major stimulus. Also, we know people are going to lose their relationship with gravity over time. We don't have very much posterior musculature for most people when they're starting out. If I can push their center of mass back, now I'm actually getting some results that they might not have been able to get anywhere else, right? I may need to start them like down here where they are doing the leg press, right? Doing even a leg extension, but then I can move them up through this chain. Then we can go goblet. Then we can go offset, weight on one side. Now can they fight rotation while still doing that weight? Cool, now can they go double kettlebell? So notice we've now brought a weight with us from here up. So it's very anterior based, it's front loaded because that's gonna wanna take me in the direction my body already wants to go that I'm usually weak in. Because if I'm pulling you more in the direction you're already wanting to go because you're weak, you will counter. So I get to build more of the muscle I need. Does that make sense? Yeah. So now we can load it up more, right? It's getting more complex. Now we can go landmine. Now, for a lot of people, this kind of stuff is interchangeable.
I would say those 3 are.
So don't take this as tried and true, but it is a good way to progress. I could literally have somebody walk in day one, can't do anything, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I've got 12 months of programming. And honestly, if I did variations within there, I've probably got just within the squat pattern, giving them a squat pattern every single 4 weeks, probably got 3 years at a minimum without ever having to like make them repeat an exercise that is still the pattern. Now, is that good? No, that's a different conversation. But does that make sense? Yeah. So now you get up in here, now you got Zercher. So again, that weight is, you can go heavier probably on a Zercher than on a landmine once you're truly like set up in the proper position, right? At least I can. Eventually that's too much weight to be able to hold here. So again, it's the loadability, complexability. Then we can go safety bar. All three of these, again, kind of like what Ethan was saying within these, that's going to be for me more anthropometric based, more, yes, exactly. I can front squat a ton more than I can back squat. It's also because I won't back squat. So naturally, even if it's 1 pound, it's more. So I will just naturally do more front squats than back. For most people though,
I've never been able to figure that out. It's just like,
but yeah, and some people it could be safety bar, right? And then, but then the question is like, oh yeah, well, but I safety bar Hatfield. And well, then you're actually adding more external stability. So it's from a complexity standpoint, it's shifting this way. But I don't really care. It doesn't need to be perfect. It's just a way to understand where that is. The higher the load goes on your body, the more distal it is from the floor, obviously the more complex that load is. So you want to take this even one step further, you overhead squat. But can you actually load that up to the same level as a back squat? So again, take it for what it is. Any questions on that? No, but this is just, hopefully you guys are like, cool, I know where I can actually take people. Now I understand how and where to progress them within this, and that's why we do that. Same thing within your hinge pattern. So what's your base level of a hinge pattern? Put them on the floor and have their butt go up and down. Most people thoroughly enjoy that move.
I hate the glute bridge.
Most people are like, cool, I'm on the ground and I'm stable.
That's true.
This is great. No one got my joke, it's okay. But then you can go into a hip thrust from there. So obviously a little bit more range because your back is elevated, right? We especially love that for somebody that has like any type of radicular like symptoms or basically sciatica, because the knee is bent so it takes it away, usually. Then you can always go with some form of a hinge, whether it's down on the knees with a band pulling you back or standing, so it's more of a body weight. Then you go with a pull through where you're pulling that cable or that band through, right? So you just kind of keep moving up there. Then we go with more of an anterior loaded good morning. So now we can't load this up very much. I either hold the weight here, right, because it's anterior loaded, or I could even argue that it's a safety bar, but I usually would still say it's here. And I'm just focusing on this hinge pattern where it's literally me looking over the edge, not me countering my butt backwards. So it's getting me comfortable with that position, but I could even do a seated one. And you'll see we do this with a big population that's like, oh yeah, I can't hinge. And I'm like, cool, you're just gonna sit on this bench and we're gonna stretch your inside thighs. Let's stretch your inside thighs. How does that feel? And you're like, that sounds great. So just hinge on over. Oh, whoops, I just used the word hinge. Guess what we're doing? Oh, you feel good. Okay, cool. And then we can progress. And then obviously on up, you can move from your kettlebell to your dumbbell to your barbell to like your traditional good mornings where you're gonna use a safety bar or a barbell. Then you're gonna go to your RDLs, but top down. So imagine you just have them on the J hooks on your rack. I don't have to bend over all the way to the floor to deadlift it. Now I can just work on my range of motion where I'm safe. I've probably already done it within this regard here, all the way on up, and then eventually you can go with a deadlift. Anything
Thoughts, feelings? No, I think that covers it.